Alex Rivera stared at the assignment folder in disbelief, reading the header for the third time: Priority Diplomatic Hosting, Princess Carolyn of Zorinthia, classified. "You've got to be kidding me," Alex muttered, slumping back in the creaky office chair. 3 months ago, Alex had been a junior diplomat filing paperwork about agricultural trade agreements. Now, apparently, Alex was Earth's chosen hospitality liaison for alien royalty. The phone buzzed. "Rivera, they're expecting you at the landing pad in 20 minutes, barked Director Martinez. "The princess's transport just entered our atmosphere." Alex grabbed the hastily prepared briefing materials and sprinted toward the spaceport, mind racing. The Zorinthian Empire had been humanity's first contact with intelligent alien life, and the peace treaty signed just 3 months ago was still fragile. One wrong move with their princess could restart tensions that had nearly led to war. The landing pad hummed with activity. Military personnel formed precise lines while diplomats adjusted their formal attire nervously. Alex felt severely underdressed in a simple navy suit among all the ceremonial uniforms. A sleek, crystalline ship descended through the clouds, its surface shimmering like liquid mercury. As it touched down with barely a whisper, Alex's heart hammered against ribs. This was really happening. The ship's side dissolved, revealing a ramp that extended gracefully to the ground. A figure emerged, and Alex's breath caught. Princess Carolyn of Zorinthia was nothing like the grainy photos in the briefing files. Her skin was the palest blue, like morning frost, and her hair cascaded in vibrant red curls that seemed to move with their own energy. She wore flowing robes that shifted color in the sunlight, and her bearing was so regal that everyone on the landing pad automatically straightened. But it was her eyes that stopped Alex cold, large, expressive, and the deepest violet Alex had ever seen. When her gaze swept across the welcoming committee and landed on Alex's face, there was a moment of electric connection that made Alex forget how to breathe. Director Martinez stepped forward with practiced diplomatic grace. "Your Highness, welcome to Earth. I present your assigned hospitality liaison, Alex Rivera." The princess approached with fluid steps that seemed to barely touch the ground. Up close, Alex could see intricate silver markings along her temples that pulsed faintly with inner light. "You are younger than expected," she said, her voice carrying a musical quality with only the slightest accent. "I am Princess Carolyn, daughter of Grand Sovereign Veltar of the Zorinthian Empire." Alex managed a respectful bow. "Your Highness, I'm honored to serve as your guide during your stay on Earth." She tilted her head, studying Alex with obvious curiosity. "Guide? I was told I would have a, what is your word, babysitter?" Alex's cheeks flushed. "I prefer, cultural advisor, Your Highness." A smile played at the corners of her lips, the first crack in her royal composure. "Cultural advisor. Yes, I think I prefer that as well." The ride to Alex's apartment complex was surreal. The princess sat rigidly in the passenger seat of Alex's modest sedan, clearly trying to process this new world rushing past the windows. Every few minutes, she would point at something, a stop sign, a dog walker, a coffee shop, and ask questions that revealed just how different their worlds truly were. "The humans allow their creatures to walk freely among them?" she asked, watching a woman with a golden retriever. "Dogs are companions, not servants," Alex explained, pulling into the apartment parking lot. "They're family." "Family," she repeated thoughtfully. "This concept appears frequently in your briefing materials." Alex's apartment suddenly felt impossibly small as the princess entered. Her presence seemed to fill every corner, making the space feel cramped and shabby. She moved through the living room like she was surveying a foreign planet, which, Alex supposed, she was. "These are your personal chambers," she asked, running a graceful hand along the back of Alex's second-hand couch. "For the next 2 weeks, they're ours," Alex said, setting down her luggage. "I hope they'll be adequate for your highness." Princess Carolyn turned, and for a moment, her royal mask slipped entirely. Underneath was something vulnerable and uncertain, a young woman far from home, trying to navigate an alien world. Please, she said quietly, when we are alone, call me Kirillin. I think I would like to try being something other than Your Highness for a while. Alex smiled, feeling the first stirring of something that would change both their worlds forever. 3 days into Princess Kirillin's stay, Alex had grown accustomed to her curious questions and regal bearing. What Alex hadn't expected was to stumble into the bathroom at 6 a.m., half asleep and desperately needing to pee, only to find Kirillin standing majestically on the toilet seat, wrapped in nothing but steam and indignation. "Do not enter," she shrieked, her pale blue skin flushed deeper with what Alex assumed was alien embarrassment. "This is a sacred chamber." Alex blinked, trying to process the sight of the nearly naked princess balanced gracefully on the porcelain rim. Her red curls were damp with steam, and her violet eyes blazed with outrage. "That's my toilet," Alex managed, suddenly very awake. "It is the ceremonial seat of purification," Kirillin declared, gesturing dramatically at the humble bathroom fixture. "You dare desecrate it with common elimination rituals." "Desecrate? I just need to pee." Kirillin's expression shifted from outrage to horror. You perform waste expulsion upon the sacred throne?" Alex rubbed tired eyes, trying to make sense of this cultural collision. "Kirillin, it's a toilet. That's literally what it's for." "Impossible." She stepped down from her perch with fluid grace, wrapping Alex's bathrobe around herself. In Zorinthian culture, any elevated seat surrounded by cleansing steam is considered a meditation throne. "I have been performing my morning purification ritual for 3 days." The pieces clicked together in Alex's sleep-deprived brain. "The hot shower. You thought the steam meant it was sacred?" "Of course. And the elevated seat, the private chamber, the flowing water, all signs of a ceremonial space." Her voice grew smaller. "Have I been inappropriate?" Despite the desperate need for the bathroom, Alex couldn't help but laugh. "You've been meditating on my toilet for 3 days?" Kirillin's blue cheeks flushed deeper. "Do not mock Zorinthian customs." "I'm not mocking," Alex said gently, stepping closer. "I'm trying to understand. What exactly do you do during this purification?" "I center my thoughts, commune with ancestral spirits, and prepare my mind for the day's challenges." She looked down at her hands. "It brings me peace in this strange world." Alex felt a pang of sympathy. Here was this regal princess, trying to maintain her dignity and spiritual practices in a completely alien environment, and she'd been unknowingly sanctifying a toilet. "Look," Alex said softly, "you can continue your morning ritual. But maybe we could find you a better space. Somewhere actually sacred." Kirillin's violet eyes met Alex's. "You would do that? Even though I have been foolish?" "You weren't foolish. You were adapting." Alex reached out, hesitating, then gently touched her arm. Her skin was surprisingly warm despite its cool appearance. "Cultural misunderstandings happen. The important thing is we're talking about it." For the first time since arriving, Kirillin smiled, really smiled, not the diplomatic expression she wore in public. On Zorinthia, admitting confusion is considered weakness for royalty. On Earth, admitting confusion is how we learn. They stood there in the steamy bathroom, alien princess and human diplomat, bridging worlds through honesty. Alex became acutely aware of how close they were standing, how the bathrobe had slipped slightly off Kirillin's shoulder, revealing more of that fascinating blue skin. "Alex," Kirillin said quietly, "I find myself curious about many Earth customs. Would you teach me?" "Everything I can," Alex promised, fighting the urge to trace the silver markings on her temple. "Good," she said, stepping back with renewed composure. "But first, you mentioned an urgent need?" Alex laughed, the tension breaking. "Right. The actual purpose of this room." As Alex finally claimed the bathroom, Kirillin called through the door, "I still think you should bow before sitting." "Never." Alex called back, grinning. And somehow, In that moment of shared laughter and cultural chaos, something shifted between them, the first thread of connection that would weave their hearts together. The bathroom incident had broken something open between them. Over the following days, Kirilin's royal reserve melted away, replaced by insatiable curiosity about everything human. Alex found herself falling into the role of enthusiastic tour guide, discovering Earth anew through violet alien eyes. "This is pizza," Alex announced, setting the steaming box on the coffee table. They'd moved their evening meals to the living room floor, Kirilin claiming that formal dining made her homesick. Kirilin examined the circular food with scientific interest. "The bread base supports various offerings to create nutritional harmony." "Sure, let's go with that," Alex grinned, watching as Kirilin took her first careful bite. The princess's eyes widened, and she made a soft sound of pleasure that sent heat racing through Alex's body. "This is remarkable," Kirilin murmured, taking another larger bite. A string of cheese stretched from her lips, and Alex had to look away from the unconsciously sensual sight. "Wait until you try ice cream," Alex said, voice slightly hoarse. In return, Kirilin shared pieces of her world. She taught Alex the flowing hand gestures that accompanied Zorinthian poetry, her fingers dancing through the air like liquid music. When she spoke of her home planet's twin moons and crystal cities, her voice carried such longing that Alex ached for her. "Do you miss it terribly?" Alex asked one night as they sat on the small balcony, sharing a bottle of wine that had made Kirilin's pale cheeks flush pink. "I miss the freedom," Kirilin admitted, leaning back against the balcony railing. "Here, I can be curious, clumsy, imperfect. On Zorinthia, every breath is observed, every word analyzed for political meaning. Is that why you agreed to this exchange program?" Kirilin's laugh was bitter. "I didn't agree. I was sent. My father hopes exposure to human culture will make me more tractable for my future duties." "Future duties? Marriage alliance? Children? The continuation of bloodlines and political stability." She took a long sip of wine. "I am to be mated upon my return." The word "mated" hit Alex like a physical blow. Mated? To whom? Duke Velros of the Northern Territories. A strategic alliance to strengthen our empire's borders. Kirilin's voice was flat, emotionless. "I have never met him." Alex felt something fierce and protective rise in her chest. "That's barbaric." "That's royalty," Kirilin corrected. "Personal desires are secondary to duty." They sat in silence, the weight of Kirilin's predetermined future settling between them. Alex wanted to rage against the unfairness, to promise impossible things, but what right did she have? "What about you?" Kirilin asked suddenly. "What desires do you sacrifice for duty?" Alex considered this. "I wanted to be an anthropologist. Study different cultures, maybe write books about human diversity. Instead, I'm filing diplomatic reports and babysitting, culturally advising, alien princesses. Do you regret it?" Alex looked at Kirilin, bathed in moonlight, her red curls moving in the gentle breeze. "Not lately." Their eyes met and held. The air between them grew charged, electric. Kirilin leaned forward slightly, and Alex's breath caught. "Alex," she whispered, "I find myself experiencing unfamiliar sensations when I'm near you." "Unfamiliar how?" "My skin feels warm. My heart rate increases. I have thoughts that are inappropriate for a princess." Alex's pulse hammered. "What kind of thoughts?" Instead of answering, Kirilin reached out and traced Alex's jawline with one finger. Her touch was feather-light but left fire in its wake. "I wonder," she said softly, "what it would feel like to press my lips to yours." Alex's restraint shattered. Only one way to find out. They moved toward each other slowly, savoring the moment before everything changed. When their lips finally met, it was soft, questioning, sweet. Kirilin's mouth was warm and tasted of wine and starlight. The kiss deepened naturally, Kira Lynn's hands tangling in Alex's hair while Alex's arms circled her waist, pulling her closer. When they finally broke apart, both were breathing hard. That was. Kira Lynn began. Yeah, Alex agreed breathlessly. A sharp chime from Kira Lynn's communication device shattered the moment. She glanced at it and sighed. Tomorrow I must attend a formal dinner with Earth's diplomatic council, she said regretfully. Duty calls. Duty, Alex repeated, the word tasting bitter now. But as they reluctantly parted for the night, Alex caught Kira Lynn's hand. This isn't over, Alex said firmly. Kira Lynn's smile was radiant. I certainly hope not. The formal dinner had been torture. Alex watched from across the crowded ballroom as Kira Lynn charmed Earth's elite, every inch the perfect princess. But Alex caught the subtle glances, the way Kira Lynn's eyes sought hers across the room, the tiny smile that appeared when their gazes met. Now, back in the apartment, the air crackled with unspoken desire. How do you do it? Alex asked, pouring them both wine with slightly shaking hands. Smile and nod and pretend everything is diplomatic when all I could think about was kissing you again. Kira Lynn set down her glass untouched and moved closer. Who says I was pretending? She reached up and began removing the ornate pins from her elaborate hairstyle. Her red curls tumbled free, and Alex's mouth went dry. Kira Lynn. I have been thinking, she said, stepping closer until Alex could feel the heat radiating from her blue skin. About desire. About choice. About the fact that in a few days, I return to a life where neither exists. Alex's heart pounded. What are you saying? I'm saying that tonight, I choose. Her hands found the collar of Alex's shirt. I choose you. I choose this feeling. I choose to experience what it means to be wanted for myself, not my bloodline. Alex's hands covered hers. Are you sure? Because once we. Kira Lynn silenced her with a kiss, fierce and desperate and full of need. Alex responded immediately, hands sliding into those magnificent curls, pulling her closer until no space remained between them. I'm sure, Kira Lynn whispered against Alex's lips. Show me what it means to be touched by someone who sees me, not my crown. Alex's response was to sweep Kira Lynn into her arms, carrying her to the bedroom with a strength born of desire. They tumbled onto the bed together, hands exploring, mapping the geography of each other's bodies. Kira Lynn's skin was like silk under Alex's touch, warm despite its cool appearance. The silver markings on her temples pulsed with soft light as Alex's lips traced her collarbone, drawing gasps and soft moans that went straight to Alex's core. Your skin tastes like starlight, Alex murmured, nipping gently at Kira Lynn's throat. And yours like sunshine, Kira Lynn replied, her hands working at Alex's clothing with desperate urgency. When they were finally skin to skin, they paused, drinking in the sight of each other. Kira Lynn was ethereal, otherworldly, her pale blue skin luminous in the moonlight streaming through the window. You're beautiful, Alex breathed. As are you, Kira Lynn replied, pulling Alex down for another kiss. They moved together slowly at first, learning each other's rhythms, discovering what made the other gasp and arch and plead for more. Alex worshipped Kira Lynn's body with lips and tongue and gentle hands, mapping every sensitive spot until the princess was writhing beneath her. Please, Kira Lynn gasped, her hands fisted in the sheets. Alex, please. Alex gave her everything she asked for and more, bringing her to the edge again and again until Kira Lynn cried out her name like a prayer. When it was Kira Lynn's turn to explore, her touch was reverent, curious, learning Alex's body like she was studying a new language. Afterward, they lay entwined, Kira Lynn's head on Alex's chest, both still catching their breath. I understand now, Kira Lynn said softly, why humans write poetry about love. Alex's heart clenched. Kira Lynn. Don't, she said, pressing a finger to Alex's lips. Don't speak of tomorrow or duty or impossibilities. Just hold me. Alex tightened her arms around the alien princess, wishing she could stop time, make this moment last forever. Outside, the world continued its inexorable turn toward morning, toward duty, toward the moment when Carolyn would have to choose between love and everything she'd ever known. But for now, in the sanctuary of Alex's arms, she was just a woman in love, and that had to be enough. Later, as dawn painted the sky pink, Carolyn's communication device chimed with an urgent message. She read it, and Alex watched her face crumble. "What is it?" "My father," Carolyn whispered. "The marriage contract has been finalized. I'm to return to Zorinthia in 3 days for the bonding ceremony." Alex's world tilted. 3 days. They had 3 days before Carolyn would belong to someone else forever. "We'll figure something out," Alex said fiercely, though she had no idea how. Carolyn looked at her with eyes full of love and despair. "Promise me something. Anything. Promise me these 3 days will be ours. No politics, no duty, no thoughts of the future. Just us." Alex pulled her close, sealing the promise with a kiss that tasted of salt and desperate hope. "Just us," she agreed, and tried not to think about how quickly 3 days could pass. 2 days. They had made love with desperate intensity each night, as if they could somehow imprint themselves on each other deeply enough to last a lifetime of separation. Alex woke on the second-to-last morning with Carolyn pressed against her back, the alien princess's arm draped possessively across her waist. "I can't do it," Carolyn whispered into Alex's shoulder. "I can't go back and pretend to love someone else when my heart belongs to you." Alex turned in her arms, studying the determined set of Carolyn's jaw. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying I won't marry Duke Velros. I won't be a political pawn anymore." Her violet eyes blazed with resolution. "I'll renounce my title if I have to." "Carolyn, you can't." "I can. And I will. Unless." She hesitated, vulnerability flickering across her features. "Unless you don't want me to. Unless what we have isn't worth the scandal it will cause." Alex's heart soared even as her mind raced through the implications. A Zorinthian princess renouncing her title for love would cause an interplanetary incident. It could destroy the fragile peace between their worlds. "It's not that simple," Alex said carefully. "Your father, the Alliance, will survive without my sacrifice," Carolyn said firmly. "There are other ways to strengthen borders besides marriage contracts." A wild idea began forming in Alex's mind. What if there was another way? What if we could find a solution that serves both love and diplomacy? Before Carolyn could respond, Alex was up and pacing, pieces clicking together with sudden clarity. "The cultural exchange program," Alex said excitedly. "What if we expanded it? Made it permanent? You could serve as Zorinthia's cultural ambassador to Earth, and I could become Earth's ambassador to Zorinthia," Carolyn finished, her eyes lighting up with hope. "We could legitimize our relationship as a diplomatic alliance. A marriage alliance between our worlds, just not the one your father planned." They spent the morning frantically contacting officials, making calls, pulling diplomatic strings. Alex's supervisor was initially skeptical until she explained the unprecedented opportunity for permanent cultural exchange. Director Martinez, ever the politician, immediately saw the public relations value of an interspecies love story that had brought two worlds together. The response from Zorinthia was more complicated. Grand Sovereign Veltar was furious about the disruption to his carefully laid plans, but Carolyn's passionate argument about strengthening the alliance through genuine cultural understanding rather than political convenience eventually swayed him. "My daughter has always been too curious for her own good," he said during the video conference that evening. "Perhaps it's time that curiosity served the Empire in a new way." Duke Velros, surprisingly, was relieved. "I confess, I had no more desire for this marriage than the princess," he admitted. "A military alliance will serve our purposes just as well." As the details fell into place over the following day, Alex could hardly believe it was real. They would split their time between worlds, 6 months on Earth and 6 months on Zorinthia, serving as living bridges between their cultures. On their last night in the apartment that had become their sanctuary, they made love with a joy that was entirely different from their previous desperate passion. This was a celebration, a claiming, a promise of forever. "I love you," Alex whispered as they moved together in perfect harmony. "And I love you," Kira Lynn replied, her silver markings pulsing bright with emotion. "Across all the stars, through all the worlds, I love you." 6 months later. Alex stood in the crystal gardens of the Zorinthian royal palace, wearing the flowing robes that had become as comfortable as earth clothes. In the distance, the twin moons cast rainbow shadows through the crystalline trees, and the air hummed with alien music. "Admiring the view, Ambassador Rivera?" Kira Lynn's voice was warm with affection as she approached. "Always," Alex replied, turning to pull her wife into her arms. The bonding ceremony had been beautiful, a blend of human and Zorinthian traditions that had been broadcast across both worlds as a symbol of unity. "I have news," Kira Lynn said, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "Earth has requested a permanent embassy here. Guess who they want as the first permanent ambassador?" "You're joking." "I never joke about diplomatic appointments," Kira Lynn said solemnly, then broke into a grin. "Congratulations, my love. It seems our bathroom incident has led to a career change." Alex laughed, spinning Kira Lynn around in the garden where alien flowers chimed like bells in the breeze. "I love you, Your Highness." "I love you too, my cultural advisor," Kira Lynn replied, and kissed her under the light of 2 moons, proving that sometimes the most ridiculous misunderstandings can lead to the most beautiful love stories. And in a small apartment back on Earth, their former bathroom had been turned into a shrine by the building superintendent, not for any sacred purpose, but because it was the spot where 2 worlds fell in love.